hours, I've got you, okay? There will be a bathroom. We'll let you go to the bathroom, guys.
At their own peril.
Hey, we're loading these guys up with coffee. They're going to want to go too. So let's commit that we will have 2 breaks during this time, but please commit just for 3 hours. This will change your career. We want to be the best realtors out there, and we're giving you the opportunity for that. Now, if you're not here, which doesn't make sense that I'm talking to you about this, but for your friends in the office, there is a taping that you'll be able to watch. You'll still have to take the test. Now, if you guys want to go back because you missed something, you'll be able to do that too. I'm just telling you right now, give me 3 hours. All right, guys, thanks for making it in. I know it's not easy. I know that parking's not great. I appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you. All right, Marilyn.
Good morning. We will only have 1 break. Okay, it's a little difficult to get these cats back into the room and settle down again. Good morning, everybody. I think we have a wonderful panel here, and we have an individual to my right, your broker, Craig Owen, who is here today. So this is very special. He's going to get an opportunity to talk to you first before the panel begins, but I'd like to introduce the panel. Paul Espinoza, he is with Pearl Insurance. This individual is responsible for corporate training as well as risk assessment for over 12,000 policyholders of professional liability. Paul sees all the claims. He knows everything. He knows what gets an agent in trouble. What he's going to say to you today is going to scare you. And it might even make you pause, and that's good. You've been listening to Michael or myself or Larry or Craig talk about all these issues, and sometimes it falls on deaf ears. You just don't get it. You're not paying attention to what we're saying. So it's good that we have other people in this room and on this panel today. They get to say to you in a different way, and maybe it'll make a connection for you, because this is for your benefit. Very few operations do this. These individuals have taken the time to come here to be with you to share their experiences and what they really recommend. And so we're very fortunate that Paul is here with us today. The next to him is Henry Font. He is our insurance broker. And not only does he go to bat for us every year to try and get us insurance, he is there watching over and making sure that we have proper limits and coverage, and everything that we could get covered in our E&O policy, he makes sure that it's there. And so he is a great resource and friend. He also does my own personal insurance and those of my family and friends. So he can do it all, even in health insurance, right? Yeah, you've helped a lot of agents that way. And then the gentleman to his left is Stephen Rogers. Stephen Rogers is our counsel. He is the go-to man. There's an agent in this audience that we will not name that had an experience that could have resulted, take the thing away from your face, it could have resulted in a major, major, major lawsuit. Stephen Rogers actually called the bluff on the HOA and found out that they hadn't done something right, and that whole issue went away.
Nice.
Nice. And this is an individual who, it amazes me, he understands water rights, which is a very complex issue, all the way down to helping us to get people to get their earnest money released. So he has been a great resource and a friend to Keller Williams into this office. So I welcome the panel, and now we are going to turn it over to our broker.
Yay. Oh, starting. That's scary. All right. Well, Marilyn, thank you. First of all, I want to thank everyone who taken the time today to be here. As an agent for many years, I really, I can really feel your pain being in a room with your broker and insurance people and E&O carriers and risk reduction. And of course, you're out there saying, okay, I got to make a living. And this is coming from the other end now as a broker and one of the owners with the company. I look at things a little different than I did when I was an agent. And not to say that you're looking at it in a different, it's just a different perspective. Because now I look at risk and I look at the financial part of it in a much different light than I did as a sales agent. The day has come where we're in a very litigious environment, more than we've ever been. You have to consider how many lawyers and in the legal process of how many people are out there that really what I would consider, and even victims, or what I would refer to as opportunists, that are looking to take advantage of our industry. Our industry has a lot of holes in it. Our industry is plagued with administrative and lack of due diligence areas that make us weak. And it is an opportunity for people to take full advantage of you and your career, the brokerage, and our insurance carrier that usually pays quite handsomely to get rid of these claims. Our goal is, we're not able to get rid of all of them, but if we can avoid you from getting into one of them, hopefully we can save you the embarrassment, the frustration, the personal sacrifices that one will make if you have to be called into a courtroom. I want to ask real quickly, who's been in court or been on a deposition before? If you've been called to court as a person that's not a plaintiff, but is on the defensive side, raise your hand. How many of you gone through a full deposition? Raise your hand. Look around the room. Those are the people I talk to. How many of you felt like truly it was like receiving, what would be the best? Yeah, I would say that's about the closest way of describing this. I mean, that's, Paul hits it on the spot. Bottom line is, it is embarrassing, and it's a rude awakening how our judicial system works. And I hope to goodness that none of you get to experience what that feels like, to have your personal life spread open for everyone to see in a public view. It is embarrassing, and as a matter of fact, more than 90% of the questions are asked aren't even pertaining to what the issue is. And you're going to expose your life to it. So our goal today is to maybe give you a different perspective and give you an awareness that maybe living a little bit more on the conservative side and doing things by the book a little bit more, or crossing the T's and dotting the I's, will probably be the most effective use of your time for the next 3 hours. So I'm going to just say for grins, I want to go through the top 13. Is that where we want? Oh, we're not going to do it.
Commercial.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, then you do that.
Well, I get at the very end, unless you want to pass it out. But folks, I have something very dear to my heart that I want to make sure Marilyn just give me 30 seconds, maybe 45. We have an agent in our company, because I do the same thing that Michael does in San Antonio. So my day is filled with the same challenges and struggles and opportunities and fun that he does. And some might say it's fun, some might say it's not. I don't know. It goes half and half. Are you having fun right now?
What struggles do you speak?
That's right. That's right. Putting this office together was a struggle. I commend you. Are you all happy with your new office?
Yeah.
Now, don't let me think it's right.
That's fair.
We love them, and we love you. Thank you for what you've done. All your staff has been a wonderful, very wonderful experience to work with over the last couple of years. But this is true to my heart. There is an agent in our company in San Antonio, Texas. Her name is Barbara Blackburn. The reason I put a name on it is I want to make it a little personal for you. She's got stage 3 cancer. And I like to say that no agent in our company is left behind, and they're all family. And this agent is in her early 60s. She does not qualify for Medicare. She couldn't get insurance for her previous position. It's stage 3 cancer. She has about a 35 to 40% chance of survival. And she's a friend. And we have applied for a Keller Williams grant. We went through all the process. In the meantime, all the ALC and all the agents in our company came together to put together just a wonderful list of raffle tickets, items, such as Palm Springs trips, a trip to Palm Springs first class, golf, and with, of course, a spa while you're there for a couple for a weekend. We have trips to JW Marriott. There's 7, 8, 16-inch big screen TVs, all part of this raffle, are $5 a ticket. Or you get 5 for 20. So it's it might be an opportunity for, I would really like to say that I'd hope that I would sell out every one of the raffle tickets today, because this is KW Family in San Antonio. And if you're able to buy a pack of 20, we'd really appreciate it even more. There's a lot of tickets that have already been sold. We're hoping to sell 3,000 tickets and raise the minimal deduction which we need to meet for the chemotherapy she's getting ready to start. If anyone of you have been through chemotherapy, I know there's a list of folks. Who's some cancer survivors in the room here? Raise your hand. Folks, y'all know what we're talking about. This is life or death situation for this lady. If she doesn't get the chemo fever, she has no survival chance. So we're having to come up with this one raffle. We're trying to raise $30,000, and in conjunction with that, we're doing a margarita pour-off. Nothing better to get people to spend money than get them drunk, right? So we have 40 booths that all of the agents in my company, we built this last weekend in our parking lot to have 40 8-foot booths, or margarita booths, to have 40 contestants that are giving their recipes away on March, actually this month on the 23rd. So it's $20, also a free plate of barbecue. Come on out, San Antonio, we'd love to have you. If you can't buy some raffle tickets, it would go a long way for this lady that during one of the biggest life journeys that she'll ever experience. And we want to give her a fighting chance of survival. Hope you can understand that. I hope that experience gives you the heart to buy, even if you can only afford one ticket, it would go a long ways. So I'll leave these here for you, maybe a break. I hope you have an opportunity to come up and touch someone's heart, because I know one ticket will touch this lady's heart. Yes, ma'am.
If I could speak with you afterwards, my mom also died at 60 and faced those same challenges, and I actually have some ideas and some loopholes that would help her.
Thank you. I'd like to share those with her. Thank you.
All right, so while we're doing a commercial for cancer patients, our very own Charles Martin has been stricken with cancer. Y'all know that we have the poker tournament coming up next month. What date is that? The 7th. So on June 7th, all the proceeds are going to him. Okay? So we'd love it if you all showed up for this. We're going to have this room filled with tables. I'd love to have you come to this. There'll be prizes and everything, but the reason to come out is obviously the camaraderie coupled with all the money goes to him right now. So as long as we're going to tie into our charities, that's a great one to come to as well.
Thank you. I'll be here to support that as well. Well, this time, let's get down, I guess, to the nitty-gritty. There's 13 items that you might have in your package. Do they have this in the package?
Yes. Yeah, they were provided.
It's a 13 non-negotiables, and this is going to kick off with the attorneys and with our carriers talking more about some of the stories a little bit. But I want to go through the 13 non-negotiables. Some of these you probably already know pretty well. There's might be a few that might not be aware of, and we just make sure this format is delivered to you in such a way that you really know the rights and wrongs and what the brokerage policies are. The first one on the list is about associates representing themselves as a seller on their own transactions. I truly believe you can't serve two masters, and I don't know how you can serve as a representative of the company and act as a representative, as being a real estate agent with holding a realtor code of ethics, and at the same time represent your own interests as a principal in the transaction. Do any of you disagree with that? Steve?
No.
I don't think anyone here would disagree that it is not allowed in our company that if you wish to represent yourself, the best way to do it is to get a fellow agent or associate in the company. You work out the commission difference, and whether it is a commission, and you allow the other individual to represent your best interest. That way, you're not putting the company at harm. It's an arm's length transaction, and you're able to continue forth with being the principal, which you should have a right to be. It comes down to it. We've seen too many issues where if you're a principal in a transaction, your allegiance is to who? To yourself. It puts you at a very unfair, it puts you at a disadvantage if you get in front of the courtroom. Would you agree with that? Yes. So it's not negotiable. If you write it up, we're not going to insure it. And if we're not going to insure it, it means we don't want to represent it. So if you have any questions, please see Michael. Number 2, any of the assumed names must be recorded in every county which you do business, must be filed with the office, so the broker can submit it to TREC. So here's the deal. If you have a company, say you have a team named ABC Team, or maybe it's your name within the team, say it's the Owen team, that has to be registered in, like if you do business in Houston, that would be registered in Harris County. You have to go down and do a DBA. It's required. You have to bring that back to Michael. When Michael gets that delivered, he will turn it in on a separate form through a submission that we submit through the Texas Real Estate Commission website to upload that name as a registered DBA. You have to do it. So your question is, if you have ABC Team it has to be registered. If your name is a little bit different than the license, you still need to have a DBA on it. Because what will happen is, here's the way Trek will work. Trek is not going to come look you up just because you have a different name and it doesn't have a DBA. What will happen is you'll be getting if there's ever an investigation on you, that will be one of the items they will investigate on. So they won't go looking for you, but if you ever get an investigation, an open file, you will have that as a penalty, and you will pay a penalty for not putting a DBA on your assumed name. Is there any questions on that? Pretty simple. Yes.
You mean just like on your credit report where it shows you have all these different things?
Well, no, whatever you market yourself.
Okay.
So if you market yourself as ABC team in general public, you have to register it.
Is that only on contracts or?
No, anything you market, your name. If you're part of a team, if you market yourself as the Joe Blow team, you have to register Joe Blow team, doing business as, or your name doing business as Joe Blow team, and that has to be registered in the county in which you conduct business. So if you've got 3 or 4 counties outside of Harris, you have to register in that county as well.
What about nicknames?
If you use a nickname in marketing, yes, sir. If you don't, here's a simple way of putting it. I have a company called, when I sold real estate, I had Realty 2000. It was a corporate name I opened up for IRS purposes. I did it for tax purposes. But I never marketed myself as Realty 2000. But I didn't need to register it with Texas Real Estate Commission. I never used it. No one would ever see it except IRS. Does that make sense? But if I used Realty 2000 in any marketing, I had to represent it. Because here's the deal. Any name you register, that means me as a broker, I'm representing that name. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
We had a question back here, David Tanzi.
Define doing business, so if we take a listing in Galveston, we need to go down and register in Galveston.
If you did business in Galveston other than your licensed name, yes. If you marketed in Galveston, say you took a listing and put it on the MLS, and you took a listing down there in Galveston, Texas, and you operated under a name of the David Team USA, whatever you called yourself, you would have to register in that county that name and then bring it to us with the DBA, and we will register it with Texas Real Estate Commission.
Just to be clear, so if I say I've registered with Waller, Montgomery, all these counties nearby,
In which you do business in.
yeah, and then suddenly I find one in Dayton that I've never done business with.
Correct.
Before I take the listing, or I take the listing?
Well, I'm not going to get into semantics. I'll just tell you, you better do it. If you don't do it, it's just a matter. Here's a question. Many of you won't get caught, but some will. That's just the way it works. That's how this business works. Texas Real Estate Commission doesn't have the police force to go out and look for every one of you. What will happen is if the public ever makes a complaint against you, then they're going to look it up. Okay? Number 4.
What if you have a non-retail, a non-real estate business? I mean, do you have any kind of liability that way if somebody's has a t-shirt?
I'm going to let if you have a different entity name that you operate under, other than your real estate practice, I'm gonna defer that to Steve.
As long as you're not practicing real estate or any of that name, you're okay.
Well, there is possible exposure to Keller Williams if you're moonlighting basically, but using a Keller Williams office or Keller Williams computers, that can get into trouble because Keller Williams is a big target. It's a blue ribbon company, and plaintiffs' counsel out there sees that Keller Williams is involved. Even if you were just using their office, Keller Williams is going to get sued, guaranteed.
Yeah, we have one right now, don't we? Yes. In which they use the address of our building, and they put us on a lawsuit as well. And we had nothing to do with it. But guess what? Now we have to defend it. Guess how much that costs? My deductible is $25,000. Embarrassment. It's awful. And the agent tells me, but I didn't do anything wrong. Well, why are you using my address to run your other business? Let's do real estate. I don't mean to be, folks, I'm sorry. If you've got other practices, do that outside. We're interested in selling real estate, and I hope that's your main target, your major objective. Number 4. Yes. 3, excuse me. Try to go faster.
I have a question,
Okay.
and I think I know the answer, but this doesn't.
Let him go first. He was up talking, and then.
What about our website addresses? Like mine's howithproperties.com. Do I need to register
No,
howithproperties?
not .com, no.
Okay.
Not the .com. I think that was a question I recall that in the past that was asked. You don't have to register your .com. But if you do operate under a different name of the Halverson team, or whatever you call it, then yes, but it doesn't have to be the .com.
Okay.
It's just better, and look, folks, this be better safe than sorry. It doesn't take you but a couple hours to go do it. Go do it. Matter of fact, in Bear County, you can do it online.
You can do it online.
Okay, so we're told you can do it online here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I know the answer to this. I have an LLP.
LLP.
No. An
LLC.
LLC.
Got it.
Okay, I have that. It has real estate holdings in it.
Yes.
They are majority sold off. I still have
Yes.
debts on them. But I have one rental that's a long-term rental.
Yes.
I don't run anything through Keller Williams.
Got it.
Haven't. Don't use the address here. Do disclose when
That's-
I rent it out that I'm an agent. This is, but I still need to do so. So
Well, no. If you're not using it in the if you're not using it in the practice of our business, it's not tied to Keller Williams. That's your corporation or your business. I don't need to know about it. Matter of fact, I don't need to have anything to do with it.
that's what I want.
And especially if we're not paying a commission to it, then I don't have to be. There's no officer, brokerage officer. It doesn't matter. Yes, sir.
My name is William Clinton, and I tell everybody I'm Bill Clinton. In my card it says Bill Clinton. Do I have to register Bill?
I would.
Hey, Craig, can
Yes.
we have you repeat the questions as they're coming in?
Question here is his legal name is William Clinton on his license, correct?
Yes.
William and Bill, they're probably. I don't know if Trek would go that deep, because Bill and William are considered to be the same. If you're here, Bill, but if you wanted me to, I'm sure the attorneys up here would tell you just go do it. It's not gonna. It's what the cost is minimal. Okay, let's get going because I think y'all can see me later if you have any questions. Number 3. Every agent here has signed the addendum to the independent contractor agreement, agreed to work residential business only, unless individually authorized by the director, risk manager, or team leaders providing permission in writing. This is very simple. Everyone that got hired has got residential sales privileges, but because of recent changes with the Texas Real Estate Commission, they put the burden on the broker, that's me, to oversee and qualify every single associate that hangs their license with me with their skill sets and their abilities to do other sales. So I understand you might have farm and ranch experience. Well, that's going to be approved by the leadership here, because if you don't have the experience and you get us in a lawsuit, or there's a Trek complaint, Trek is going to want to know what your skill sets have to do that type of a business model. Because farm and ranch is different than residential. If you do commercial, we want to see the experience or your skill sets. I mean, if you came to me and said, look, I got my CCIM, I'm qualified, I think that holds a lot of weight. Or I've been doing commercial with my brother-in-law. We've been doing it for 20 years. I've got millions and millions of dollars of sales experience. Yeah, that's going to weigh real heavy. But folks, just arbitrarily telling you you're licensed like a loaded gun and you have the ability to shoot anything and everything you want is absolutely disrespectful to the industry, and it's not allowed. I can't do it. I'm not a company that you can end all with doing everything you want to do. So it's like property management. We just don't allow it. There's too much lawsuit abuse when folks are doing property management right now. So you right now have that permission. Part of your ICA agreement, independent contract agreement, there's an addendum. If you wish to have further privileges to do other types of sales, we want to give those to you, but we have to do it on a case-by-case, individual basis. Okay? All good? Larry, is that anything that you're still explaining? All right. Number 5. Or we're going too fast here. Every KW Memorial agent must commit to reading the KBR policies and guidelines. So read the P&G manual. There is an acknowledgement of release, and the form has been emailed to you today. Was it emailed to you today? Was it emailed last night? Okay. Didn't get it? That's the ICA addendum, is that not? Yeah, now, the P&G manual, if we will get you, if you haven't got it today, we will get it to you sometime today or tomorrow, which will be emailed to you. The ones we did in San Antonio, we did e-sign, that way they signed it with any changes. Okay. Because from time to time, there's policy changes in the company, you need to know what they are. Okay, number 5. All listing associates must provide a written broker price opinion. Folks, there's been new laws that have been handed down from Texas Real Estate Commission that is a requirement now, actually as of last year, I think it was November or October of last year, that every single listing you go on and you sign them up, you were to provide them with a written broker price opinion, not just provide them some, a few sales comps. It is a requirement per Texas Real Estate Commission that you provide them like a CMA, an actual CMA. How many of y'all do that? Look around the room. That's a License Act violation if you are not providing a broker price opinion for every single seller you get in business with. Yes, ma'am.
Do you leave it with them? I thought you're not supposed to leave it with them unless you got the listing.
No, I don't. That's not. I don't think that's a. That might be. I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
So you do leave it with them?
Well, if you take that listing, you're required as a fiduciary. A fiduciary is required to provide a written documentation to that client of the market value of the property. Period. And end of story. If you go to a listing a day and you don't provide it, you're putting my license in jeopardy, and you're putting your license in jeopardy.
So if you're just on the listing presentation, you don't have to leave it. But if you actually take the listing, you go to. Because I don't want them to take it and compare it with other realtors, or I don't know.
Okay, the question is, do you have to leave it if you didn't take the listing? No, I don't. No, I don't care if you leave it or not. But if you take that listing and they've signed and you've executed a listing agreement without providing them a written broker price opinion, how many of you who uses the MLS broker price opinion? These CMAs on the MLS. Okay, so a lot of y'all do. Okay, great. Get them signed. Matter of fact, in your package, I think there will be a disclaimer coming that you did provide your seller with a broker price opinion. It's law. It's not my. That's not my policy. That is the Texas Real Estate Commission. Actually, Trent Rule 535.16C. Okay, transaction fees charged by agent to clients must have a standardized, justified explanation in writing that has been approved by a director of risk management. Any agent that cannot make a profit by charging the buyer more than third-party vendor charges. Here's the thing. You're going to charge a transaction fee, great, but it has to be justified and above the services you normally provide. Correct, Steve?
That's correct, yes.
So you can't just make some mythical fee up that you think that just because the seller will pay for it, if it's something you would normally do as a fiduciary to that client. Okay, so the question would be, well, what if I do, here's a good one, photography, right? I don't think most realtors in their skill sets are professional photographers. If you paid someone to do that, that's great, but you can't do an upcharge. You can't collect $100 from a photographer and then you charge the client $200. Because here's what will happen. I'm not going to sit there and police it. I don't think we have the time to police it, but if it ever goes to an investigation, they will subpoena, and Trek will get the records on it, and they will do an investigation on the parties that were involved. If they find you guilty, that is a License Act violation for you doing it. Yes?
So real estate commissions are not regulated?
No, it's not. No, not commissions aren't regulated.
So we could
just transaction fees. What they're trying to get away from is it's a RESPA violation. If you're charging something to somebody without justification, especially when it comes to real estate transactions, you're going to be subject to a License Act violation.
You can charge them 7% to list.
You can charge them whatever you want to charge them. Sure, but putting a separate fee and then justifying it in writing that it's a such and such fee for such and such,
Like a
and then you profit, like a paperwork fee, and then you profit off that, then no, that is against the rules.
But there's a reverse on that, and what I've seen is agents charging 5% on a listing, but charging an exorbitant pad on the fees is not allowed. Your commission was negotiated at 5%, yet they're gouging on the other side. Now that's still a net of probably 6%, but they can't break it out like that because they are charging a profit on Dustin, the transaction coordinator, and on the photography.
Here's the deal. It's risk management. I mean, I'm telling you what the rules are. I mean, I can't. We're not going to be able to go through every single one of your files. But if you're a person of integrity, you'll do it. If you don't, then you have to question yourself on that. But I just don't want the risk because you will eventually get caught. It's just a matter of when. Yes, sir.
I can see a mistake. If let's say somebody made a mistake, and you want to fix the mistake by giving the people the money back.
Okay.
Doesn't that cause another type of liability where it looks like you're refunding something or
rebating? Well, first of all, hold on. If you're with the principal, you can't. It's not a rebate. If I'm doing it off of, excuse me. It can be considered a rebate, whatever you want to call it. But if there's a principal that you want to give X amount of money back to, you have every right to. People get this big feeling that, okay, you can't give the commissions back to the principal. A principal is your client. If you negotiate a better deal for your client and you want to give them a X amount of your commission back, I don't necessarily think that's the greatest thing to do, but if you wish to do that, that's your prerogative. You're CEO of your own business. We don't regulate the commissions of what you charge. As long as it's documented. And it's fully disclosed between all parties.
One of the examples might be a finder's fee. You may tell your seller if they advertise their home on Facebook and one of their friends up to buying the house, you agree to give them back money. That's fine, but just pre-document.
But you can't give it to a third party. That's where we run the risk. Yes, ma'am. Got to keep going.
But you can't give over 3% because that affects the loan on the federal land.
Well, yeah, there's regulations on what the lenders. Again, that's a totally separate subject.
You're giving back 3%, you have a bigger problem. You're out of business.
Really. Well, yeah, first of all, I'm not here to talk about what lender guidelines are. That's a lender guideline, but they're not a part. Well, they're not a part of the contract unless they're getting financing. Bottom line is, if the lender requires that, great, but it's got to stay within the guidelines. But as far as Texas Real Estate Commission, I'm more concerned with them right now. Yes.
Craig, what about an early termination fee? Like if
yes.
you've spent money on the...
I don't think there's anything that says you can't.
You haven't gone to close, so the commission isn't an issue.
Can you charge an early termination fee?
Yes.
The answer is yes. But you better document it.
Yeah. It better be in the listing agreement.
And one more thing. If you take that commission or that fee and you personally cash that check, you are in violation of the Texas Real Estate Commission. The money has to flow through the broker, and it is considered commission. And you may say, well, it's administrative. No, it's still commission. TREC looks at it as commission. Am I correct?
Yes. Your E&O won't cover it unless it goes through the firm.
Okay, Paul just said a very key point. The E&O carrier will not cover you if it doesn't go through the firm. I've had agents in the past, well, I just cash that check. That's a big red flag. You can't. The check should never be made payable to you. Now, there might be some other instances where you could if it's utilities or something, but I mean, like you paid some utilities. This is documented. Okay, number 6. 7. Okay, number 7. Agents must place. Okay. Can't place an advertisement that implies the agent is a person responsible for the operation of real estate business or cause the public to believe that person who is not authorized to conduct real estate is doing so. Very simple. Here, if you operate under a name, say, I'll use my name as an example, Craig Owen. If I operate under Owen Properties, you may have seen that before, the companies. Owen Properties of Keller Williams Realty. If I am a broker, I can put properties. If I'm an associate, I cannot put the word properties because it appears to the public that I am running my own operation. Could I put team? Yes. Can I put group? Yes. Can I put associates? No. It's that simple. So when you come with all these names, do we not lead a company that's pretty entrepreneurial?
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit more maverick, a little more we're a little bit more cowboyish. Great, but there's guidelines in the way we operate. You can't imply that you are your own brokerage. If you're a broker, you do have more privileges. You need to see Michael and Marilyn for what you call your team name. There we go. Any questions? Okay. Number 8. Licensed advertising must clearly consistently contain Keller Williams Memorial. The Keller Williams Memorial must be a font size of 50% of the largest contact information on the ad. This includes all ads, signs, websites, and business cards. That's a TREC Rule 535.154. So here's the deal. How many of you got your own personal signs? Okay. And we for years have always given you a lot of customization, right? I'm not saying rush out tomorrow and make your sign where the Keller Williams logo has to be 50%, but I'm telling you that is a rule that TREC just changed recently where they don't want the agent to conduct a business, real estate practice, in which the brokerage is not firmly or conspicuously placed on that ad. It has to have the brokerage name. Because I was in for years, I could put Keller Williams really small. My name was always bigger as a sales associate. Folks, times have changed. They're just not giving us those rights as we did in the past. So the brokerage has to be there with your name. It has to be 50% the size of the largest contact. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are we not doing business as Keller Williams Realty?
If we have a DBA set up as a
Give him the
different
mic,
name.
Craig.
answer the question.
All right, so if we have a DBA set up as a different name, ask our underwriters here. Let's say that we were Keller Williams Realty and we didn't have the word memorial in there. Could they use that?
As long as you have a DBA.
Okay, so those of you that don't sell in Memorial or you live in the Woodlands, and I'm so grateful that you're here, that's what we want to protect you against because we don't want you to be geographically bound because that has come up. So the other DBAs we have, why don't we send those out to you so you can choose what you want to have your name under when you're making your signs, okay?
It's not going to matter. If you put Keller Williams Memorial and put Keller Williams, as a broker, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
As long as that's Keller Williams.
The word Keller Williams
It needs to be present. Keller Williams needs to be present.
And it has to be at a certain size.
50% of the largest contact. It's just that simple. And folks, please don't get mad at the messenger. I'm just telling you what Texas Real Estate Commission is employing. They're wanting us to. They're handing it down to us, telling us we got to do these things. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, so pretty much if we use one of the vendors online, we don't necessarily have to police that. If we're ordering what's off our approved vendor list and go to their website under Keller Williams, are they pretty much safe?
No.
No, not always. Okay, the question is, are you pretty safe to go to vendors on the third-party sites that when you order things that they'll know those guidelines?
Keller Williams approved vendor.
Yeah, if I'm under a Keller Williams approved
Well,
vendor.
that's not totally true, because I have a good friend of mine, Monty Pratt, that and Monty and our buddies, and he made a sign for some top agents in my company, and he didn't follow that, and I came down on him and I said, Monty, these are the guidelines. He goes, well, this is what Keller, see, here's the thing. Keller Williams National doesn't police those standards because those are licensed standards based on the state. It's state regulated. Now, I mean, please don't take this wrong, but National doesn't have a clue what we're dealing with on a state level. I'm dealing with state level stuff and city level stuff that, they don't get the lawsuits. They don't get the complaints. They're not there to protect that. We're here as a broker. I take the responsibility that National will never take. Matter of fact, if they're in a lawsuit, they always give me to give them an indemnification clause and hold them harmless. So they don't, truly, they have no financial incentive to do it to help. It's just, that's the way it works. They're a franchise. So the answer to the question is, I don't want you to go to a third-party site and think that they're God and they know everything. They don't.
Well, most of those vendors are national. They don't know what each state has for rules.
So don't go by them.
State regulated. All right, 9.